Welcome everyone for today's study, Spiritism Inspiring Lives. May we always start this meeting, this study, with a moment of harmonization, a moment that we can choose to look within ourselves, understanding that we are all immortal beings, spirits, beings essentially of goodness and love, learning to grow, to progress, to evolve. In this special inner connection which we choose to be right now, connecting with our essence, the divine within us, the sacred within us, the love within us. Let's start by expressing our gratitude for everything that the universe is presented to us in our existences. Our gratitude for our families, our corporeal family, our gratitude for our friends, for Spiritism, which presents the message of Jesus, helping us to understand ourselves, to understand others, to understand our own pathway of evolution. Our gratitude for all of those who are part in our universal family, incarnate and also in spirit. And with all hearts full of joy and gratitude, we start our study today. And in that way, dear friends, we are here today with our study Spiritism Inspiring Lives, and specifically reflecting about the theme Serenity. And in order to do that, we have the presence of our friend Leonardo Rodrigues from London. He is a member of the Bezerra de Menezes Spiritist Society, and he will be facilitating the team for us today. So in that way, welcome Leonardo, and we hand it over to you.
Hi, my name is Leonardo, and I am a volunteer, and I'm part of Bezerra de Menezes Spiritist Society in London, UK. And today we are gonna talk about a subject that's very important, especially nowadays, when the world and life is so fast. Everything is so fast. We're not used to quiet down. We're not used to stop. Get to know ourselves. We don't have the habit anymore to really know who we are, to really embrace the being we are. And serenity, it's an important tool that allows us to really quiet down, find that space inside, create that space, because serenity doesn't come by magic from one day to another. We build that space inside us and then around us, so we can basically go to that place when we need, when we feel overwhelmed, stressed, with doubts, with questions, and it's really good to go and find that space. And first, I always like to see, because I'm very curious, what serenity means. So I went to the dictionary, and I found these two explanations. First one, the quality of being peaceful and calm. The second, refer to being in a calm, peaceful, tranquil, content, and untroubled state. In other words, a serene state. So, serenity has patience and calm, solitude as cousins. They all need to be together. So, that calm, peaceful, tranquil, contented, and untroubled state, serene state, we build this with every step, step by step in our journey, which doesn't mean to be in a serene state doesn't mean I'm gonna be out of issues. I won't have any problems. No, the serene state keep us grounded. So when we have the need to really see, like we are in a movie, we see from the outside what's going on. So it's another point of view. So enable us to see that positive side we have, that allow us to improve, and thanks to that positive side, we also can look at the areas that we need to work more on, our issues, our troubles, our doubts, traumas, and so on. So the serene state allow us to look at those two sides without stress, without judgment, without judging ourselves, which is really important. Let's throw away the word judging or judging ourselves. This will only make us we will only, how can I say, this will freeze our ability to see other sides of our lives and our journey. So that's why it's important for us to be in a serene state, to find that within our day-to-day life. It's not something that it's easy, but it's not impossible. Because if we go to the gospel and then what Jesus said, he said it wasn't going to be difficult, but not easy at the same time. So it's not impossible. So we start slowly, step by step. So in philosophy, around 400 before Christ, BC, the philosophers of that time they were concerned on serenity and how that would help people, will help men on a daily journey. So Democritus, he wrote a treatise on cheerfulness. Um, the term euthymia, or cheerfulness, can mean steadiness of the mind, well-being of the soul, self-confidence. Seneca, in relation to Democritus' treatise on the subject, states that he will use the Latin word tranquillitas as a rough translation of euthymia. Writing a little later than Seneca, Plutarch wrote a similar work described in, in the 1589 translation as a philosophical treatise concerning the quietness of the mind. So basically, in different times of mankind journey, philosophy, the philosophers, the thinkers, of course, if we dig, we'll find a lot more opinions, reflections about the subject. But those are three moments which are quite distant from each other. Uh, they really pave the way of a philosophy in thinking about uh, the need for the quietness of the mind, or serenity, which brings, according to Democritus and all of them, uh, self-confidence, improve our self-confidence, because we quiet ourselves. We don't get desperate. We avoid overthinking. We stay in control, but not the control that stops us from moving, but we observe the situation. We stopped a little bit to observe the situation, and then we can, after reflecting about the positive side and the negative side of whichever situation we found ourselves thinking about, or in need to reflect, a big decision, a small decision, or those thoughts, they come and go, and we need to sort those thoughts, especially when we find ourselves in that moment of a negativity. The negative thoughts. Imagine the negative thought, like, um, how can I say, a cloud around us. So if we stop and keep feeding that negative thought, we get desperate, we don't move, we freeze ourselves. So which will affect our mind, will affect our well-being, and will affect our confidence. So it's quite interesting how this term serenity, which is a tool for our life, it appears in different sciences here, in philosophy, and then throughout our journey, humankind, the growing disbelief in the social, political, economic, and religious systems at the 18th century and most of the 19th century promoted a great dissatisfaction of man with himself and with society. The great pessimism, coupled with unbridled materialism, due in part by the failure of religions to update their methodologies of thought, weakening man's bond with hope, encouraging him into the abysses of pride, materialism, and lust. We, man, humankind journey in the social, political, economic, and religious systems, um, especially on the at the 18th century and most of the 19th century, uh, humankind and men as a whole was um, was dissatisfied with life. We had, if we go to political, economic, uh, even though the changes that happened, industrialization, uh, even with the changes in social and political uh, ways of manage a country. Um, so we have revolutions allowing society to improve in one side. Life was getting faster if we compare to the previous centuries. With the industrialization, so that speed, that time was really accelerating. But but the questions and were still inside the human being. The great questions: where I come from, who am I, where am I going? So those are three the greatest philosophical questions. Plus the speed in life, the request for growth, for results, um, cities being full, getting fuller, and with more people because they need to work, they need to live near their factories. Um, and the religion systems, most of them yet uh, encouraging fear of hell. Uh, if I don't follow this, even though I'm not going to connect with my essence, uh, I will go to hell. So that as well, it was a big weight which brought to mankind uh, a disbelief with most of societies at that time, uh, throwing themselves in materialism and lust and getting lost because those are three questions they were still going around inside man. However, in the meantime, parallel to all what we said, Spiritism emerged in 1857, revitalizing moral ethics based on the divine lessons of Jesus. Since then, although slowly, the proposal of love as an inexhaustible source of happiness has been restored due to its optimistic and realistic contents, which dignify the human species, providing them with the necessary stimuli to develop and reach the heights of personal enlightenment. So, this new way of seeing the world and interpret religion, interpret the gospel based on love, unconditional and inclusive love. Spiritism, or like I like to call the doctrine of spirits, uh, came to remove from mankind a veil. We were blind. We didn't know about the spiritual world, the continuation of life, the different realms of existence and life and being. The proof that we, not that we have a soul, that we are a soul, living and expressing ourselves in the material world. And those those reflections, they brought comfort, knowing that God, um, the supreme intelligence of the universe. So God wasn't that old man with a white beard and hair sitting in a throne looking down to humankind. No, we we started seeing God not as a human form, but as the supreme intelligence. It's an intelligence, it's a force, my energy, we can call that, that it's everywhere and base itself in unconditional and inclusive love to every single life in this planet without asking where we come from. So this, and giving us tools to help ourselves move forward. So this is love. We discovered that, but with that, we got our free will, and together with the free will, we got responsibilities. It wasn't anymore the responsibility of someone else, of the priest, the pastor, to to uh, to protect me, to solve my problems. No, because it's not fair to that person. Because we start understanding that in life, in the life journey, it's always a teamwork. The spiritual world work, and we work together with them. They will help us, and we also, but we need also to do our part. They will inspire us, they will guide us, they will love us, they can give some ideas, some tools. It's like they are giving the ingredients or show where we can get the ingredients for us to make, let's say, a cake. They're not going to give you the cake like before we thought the priest, the pastor, or whoever would give us the cake. But no, because this supreme intelligence of the universe believes in us, knows that we have the seeds to do it, that enable us to move forward. It's always about looking to ourselves and finding that, like we said in the beginning, that serene space, so we can really have a view and an idea of where we are going. And if we find ourselves in a situation or in a direction that we don't want, or it's not really giving us peace, serenity, we can stop, go to that place where we can see and change. We can restart our journey every single day, in any moment. It's not a shame to restart. It's an act of courage. So it's interesting. So the Spiritism doctrine, Spiritism is the new science that comes to reveal to man through irrefutable evidence the existence and nature of the spiritual world and its relation with corporal world. So Spiritism showed it was no longer as a supernatural thing, but on the contrary, as one of the living and incessantly active forces of nature. This it's a piece that we can find in the Gospel according to the Spiritism, chapter 1. So, as we were saying, Spiritism scientifically proved by Allan Kardec that both worlds, both realms, they are connected. And life continues. So we are spirits expressing ourselves in this material, corporeal world. So the truths of the Spiritist doctrine are based on philosophical basis, are demonstrated in a scientific way, and unfold in religious consequences. So the principles of Spiritism are the existence of God as the supreme intelligence of the universe. So that's one tool. So God is not anymore that old man looking down with the whip and spreading fear. No, it's the supreme intelligence that loves, that surrounds every being in love and believes in those beings, believes in us, the immortality of the soul. We have many different lives, as the third point, reincarnation, different existences in different moments. To really, we go back to the spiritual world, we come back, we restart from a point so we can improve and move forward. It's like with every reincarnation, we are cleaning ourselves, we become lighter and enlightened. The communicability of spirits. So the scientific research in within Spiritism proved through the communicability of the spirits, communicating spirits, proved scientifically. Even now, some researchers they do that. They are researching the ability to communicate with spirits in a psychological or psychoanalytical therapeutic setting, um, and how this can help therapeutically both the person communicating and the spirit communicating. So it's really interesting. And we exchange experiences, we learn from them. They tell us, look, don't go, uh, don't do that, or don't do these things. Try to do less of these because this is not a good thing. So we learn from each other. It's really good. Reasoned faith. So it's not anymore a blind faith in a God that will make me suffer eternally. No, that God is diluted because with the Spiritism, with the teachings of spirits, they show us that God is the supreme intelligence of the universe, which loves us unconditionally, which has faith and believe in each one of us. So by believing ourselves, we believe in God. By believing God, we believe in ourselves. So, and we are always evolving. It's the law of evolution. And this is all wrapped in the law of love. So it's really important. So Chico Xavier, the great apostle of divine love, uh, Chico Xavier was one of the greatest mediums in Brazil. And he became known not because he was a medium, but because of his love for every single life form. So describes the doctrine of the spirits as follows. Our Emmanuel, which was his spiritual guide, used to say that we could figure, for example, science as being the truth, religion as being life, and philosophy as being the question of the human creature between truth and light. So um, the doctrine of the spirits gave us this ability to to question between the truth and our lives. Things that we believed with uh, the truth, they are not. So we can always change, we can always restart, we can always ask questions and look at the other side. So this is really a freeing, but comes with a responsibility. In psychology, recently there are a growing number of studies related to happiness and positiveness in psychology as a different method to help a person's mental well-being. While the most known approaches in psychology, biological, psychodynamic, behavioral, cognitive, and humanistic, are still very important, of course, they are very important. Modern research proved that positive thoughts help a person's well being. You remember the importance in the philosophical questioning of mankind's journey through the philosopher's point of view, a place to quiet the mind. How important was it? So, um, positive psychology, it's a different approach, we can say, that uses positive thoughts as a starting point for the person to find that space to be able to look at what's going on and to be able to questioning and to ask questions and reflect between life and truth. So it's starting from positive to give a strength and quietness of the mind for the persons to look into a journey and its own journey, for us to look at ourselves and see where we are and which areas we need to improve. We're not saying the other approaches are wrong, no. They just start from one side and positive psychology from the other, but they all work together. All work together. We need all little bit of all the approaches. It's like we have a bag of tools. So we take one tool for one moment, another tool for another moment. So this is really important. So why is important serenity? Why is it important for us to be able to look at ourselves without fear? Like we said, the cold search for ephemeral and momentary success is what leads to sadness, physical and mental illnesses, such as burnout and even depression, especially nowadays. The constant pressure of perfection of tasks and results, bumping even in the physical image. We're seeing a lot of people. I'm not saying you shouldn't look after yourself. You should, but not because someone said, not because you're comparing yourself to someone else. No, we love ourselves. Let's love ourselves. Is that starting point? Let's love who we are. Let's embrace ourselves, and then from that area of self-love, we can start seeing areas of change, not because a pressure of someone or because of a pressure of society. No, because this pressure will lead people to believe they are no longer good enough to belong to society, and that's not true. We all deserve to be here. Life loves every single person, and life needs every single person. So that's why I put this Wrong Doll by Penny Goring, because it translates visually uh, the pressure that sometimes prejudice um, and judgment affects people's mental well-being. So we need to practice self-kindness. It's one of the best tools to apply in our journey to create this quietness space, quietness of the mind, or this quiet space within ourselves. So, like I said, stigma and fear, they will affect our self-esteem, which will bring a detachment. Then we'll feel empty and lacking purpose in life. So just because we comparing ourselves, we believe someone said, no. We find ourselves, we connect with our essence, and we will let the essence, we will guide the essence through life. We will, what I'm saying is, our starting point is self-love, self-kindness, and then we are able to see the areas that we need to improve or not, or keep. If it's something that's good, it's giving me pleasure, it's making me feel good, and it's not harming anyone, not even myself, I will keep doing it. And this is really important. So Divaldo Franco, also a really great medium in Brazil, he talks about knowing thyself. The old man, in order to shed his characteristic cloak, cannot do so without a great inner revolution. We need to look inside ourselves. The past of each struggling spirit on earth is a whole pile of rubble to be removed in order to rebuild, re-equip. So we look ourselves. It's like we are when we are in this serene space that we are building. We are able to see in that area. I have a lot of rubble that I need to remove to have more space to cultivate seeds of love, self-kindness, self-love. So this is important. So we always go back to that space to root ourselves more. So Louise Ray says that when we understand that our thoughts control our lives and that the only thing we have to control is our way of thinking, we acquire a power that's almost miraculous. This awareness gives us enormous possibilities to improve the quality of our lives and free us from fear. And remember, fear, like everything else we believe in, is just thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. So when we are in that moment overthinking, it's so overwhelming, and the situation is putting us down, we need to go back to the quiet space. We don't compare our quiet space to someone else. My quiet space, I cannot compare to the quiet space of someone else, even someone that I live with, a friend. We all have different ways of calming ourselves down, of root ourselves. So what for me it's a balanced state that I can see both positive and negative might be different from someone else. So even our quietness of the mind, even our quiet space inside, or like we are saying, our serene state is different from each other. This is important. It's a individual journey. Each one of us um, have the ability to build that space. And the ingredients will be the starting point. It's self-love and self-kindness. But serene, what that means? Serenity is the possession of a steady spirit that provides a consistent way of being in the world, no matter what. This steadiness is rooted in an unflappable inner sanctuary that has room for both sadness and joy. Here, sadness is not going to control ourselves. Joy is not going to be overpowering. It's a state that is a steadiness. We look and we see, uh, if I carry on this route, I I might be even sad, and I might be. This is putting me down even more. So it's better if I stop, reflect, like we said, that the spiritism teaches us every day. Question the truth and life. We have this ability every day. And serenity is an achievement that's achieved with personal effort and step by step. We need to remember that small challenges that are overcome. We need to praise ourselves, not compare ourselves. This is important. Self kindness and self love all the way, all the way. And I think we all know this prayer, the Serenity prayer, that talks about the importance of accepting situations with clarity, having the courage to overcome them, and the wisdom to conduct the process in the best way. It's a recipe for a healthy emotional life. Because serenity allows us not to be overwhelmed by what's going on. Allow us to step back a little bit. We're not giving up, just stepping back a little bit, and we look. If I carry on or allow myself to get involved in a situation that will make me overthink and stress even more, I'm not going to be able to sort any problems. So I step back, I look, and now I calm myself down, I root myself using techniques and tools that are unknown to myself, tools that I'm more receptive to. Along our journey, we find these tools, and then we are helping our emotional life to become healthier, which is really important. And how to develop it. In order to preserve our own peace, it's essential that we are willing to keep careful attention to ourselves. The Spiritist doctrine gave us, even though remove the veil and show us that God is not that old man, but God is the supreme intelligence that loves everyone and believes in everyone. He gave us responsibilities. So the conflict of unmeasurable results can arise from the explosion of uncontrolled feelings. So, however, peace is not achieved without effort. Effort. So it's like we have this energy that needs to keep moving. So in order to move this steady and always keep that energy moving, we need to have that moment and look to ourselves. No one has a serenity that he has not built. Hence, the imposition of surveillance on ourselves. We need to always look to ourselves. Let us understand that we are placed one ahead of the other in order to perfect ourselves. We look to each other. We learn from each other. We are not here to look to the other person and pointing the other person's feelings and pointing the other person's mistakes. We are not going to be connected with a behavior that we don't like, but we don't need to point it out to make it even worse for the person. We look to ourselves. We look to our garden, how we are keeping our garden. How are the flowers? How are the seeds of love and self-acceptance in our garden? For the mistakes of others that clearly concern us, let us examine our own with the sincere resolution to correct them. In short, serenity, it's not a spiritual acquisition that's achieved by magic. It's not like that. We wish, but it's not. But through the often hard and rough work of patience in action. Patience and serenity and calm, they're all cousins that needs to be walking together with self-love and self-kindness. So start by doing what's necessary, then what's possible, and suddenly you're doing the impossible. So a little bit of a recap: self-knowledge. We need to start rooting ourselves and know ourselves. Reconnect with our essence. Self-forgiveness, self-love, self-kindness. Okay, gratitude for what we have, gratitude for life, gratitude for everything, for having this moment to wake up, to be able to go somewhere, to be able to be thinking about going somewhere. Um, it's about walking in a path and seeing. So if we walk from our house to the tube, we look at life. What's happening around us? We don't. We it's a moving away from this mechanical movement that take us from one place to another. No, it's being in the moment. It's a mindfulness. So gratitude that will lead to our spiritualization, and something that help us is charity. To give time to someone, give your shoulder, listen to someone. It's a great way of charity. And to wrap, in the Gospel according to Spiritism, we find that Spiritism accomplishes what Jesus said about the promised Consoler: knowledge of things, making man know where he comes from, where he's going, and why he is on earth, calls for the two principles of God's law, and consoles through faith and hope. So the most important is, let's start building that space within us with self-kindness and self-love. We are all beautiful. We are all important to life. Thank you very much for your patience. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Hello, here we are back. Thank you very much indeed for your presentation, Leonardo, that you have been with us in this moment of reflections about serenity, which is so important for all of us. We say thank you to you and appreciate your time, appreciate your sharings that you have been available with all of us, and hope that we have other opportunities for us to, again, be together and learn so that we can constantly carry on, as you rightly said, carry on reflecting and learning from this great knowledge that we all bring within. So in that way, we are coming to the end of our presentation today, giving thanks to these moments for the universe, that everything that we received, that we may be presented with other opportunities. But also we would like to reinforce, ending this study or these reflection moments, in what Leonardo already presented. It's never too much for us to reinforce within us. So we come to the end saying the serenity prayer, which says, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Let's all of us, through our journey of spiritual development, of psychological and emotional promotion, that we may gradually become more mature, more able to discern what suits us in a short, medium, and long term, that really prevails and presents and represents the goodness within ourselves. And in that way, as we're coming to the end, for all of you who have been with us, or all of you who may be coming back to this video later on, we do wish you well and much peace to all, and hope sincerely that we have other opportunities to be together once studying Spiritism. Much peace to all, and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.